Hi, I'm here to give you some tips on how to find a therapist. So, if you've been to therapy before, you might have an idea of what you're looking for. A therapist who talks a lot, a therapist who gives a little bit more insight, a therapist who's a little bit more quiet because you might need to vent or talk more. And so, you can kind of gauge the therapist in a quick call to them when you're scheduling the appointment to find out, if they're talkative, if they're warm, if they feel judgmental, because those are all things that are important to consider when looking for a therapist. So, the one thing that I tell people is don't be afraid to shop around. If you schedule an appointment with me, that doesn't mean that you have to schedule a second appointment with me. So, therapy is only going to be so comfortable, right? Because you're talking about uncomfortable things. But you want the therapist to feel comfortable enough. So if you go to the first therapist and they feel comfortable to you and non judgmental and they seem like they get what you're talking about, then go back. And if you're not quite sure, try another therapist out or two. And if you've tried three or four therapists and you just don't find one that you like, pick from the three or four that you've tried the best one. And the other thing is don't be afraid to give feedback. It's kind of like getting a massage, like you want to tell somebody, your masseuse, if you want it, to be a lighter massage or a stronger massage, or you want them to focus on your shoulders or what have you. Therapists are very similar, so you can tell your therapist, hey, can you give me more insight? Or, I just need to vent right now. I don't really need a ton of feedback. And so that way they kind of know whether to talk more or less. So those are just some tips, but ultimately, just trust your gut feeling. You could talk to friends to find out if they have a therapist that they like, or if their therapist finds that it might not be a good fit, or there's a conflict because you're too close to that other person. That therapist might be able to give you other referrals, so you can always ask your friend to ask their therapist for referrals as well. And you can always look at review sites as well. That tends to be harder because everybody has different preferences, right? And so you might read someone that loved this person and you might not like them. So a lot of it has to do with your gut feeling. So, you can always give us a call at Long Beach Therapy. We have a lot of options with therapists, to choose from based on what you're coming in for, what your preferences are. So, give us a call and don't give up on looking for a therapist.